Right, welcome to Phil Rider's Diaries, everyone. Now I know you all know this bike, my venerable VFR400. What a glorious bike it is too. Love it to bits. You might not know this bike, and that's the latest acquisition. So what we have here is a VFR400 RK, if you need to know, which is a 1989 model in HRC Type 1 colours. I picked this up earlier in the week and it is bloody gorgeous. It's not entirely original, which is a real shame, but the bike's 28 years old now, so they rarely are now. It's got aftermarket fairings. They're not the fiberglass short weave ones, they're ABS, so I don't know if that makes them any better, but it does all right. And at the moment it's showing, if you can see that, 32,000 kilometres, which is about 20,000 miles. Not too shabby. It's been out already today, so it should start first time. There we go. Now I don't normally do start-up videos. I don't think there's a lot of joy in them, to be perfectly honest. So there we go, 1989 VFR 750 RK. Let's take it out on the road, see how we get on. So why the 400 if you've got the 750? I mean, the 750 is the bigger, it's the more powerful bike, isn't it? And of course it is, by quite a way. But that doesn't necessarily make it the better bike. It's a very good bike, don't get me wrong. But this, the engineering behind these little 400s, it's staggering, it really is. The 400 is basically the mini RC30, which is flattering this a bit, but that's effectively what it was introduced as. You see, in Japan, if you want a big bike, you've got to go through all sorts of hoops to get it, and a lot of them they don't bother. So what they do is they go for the 400 class, which is still very difficult but a lot easier. And all these big manufacturers know it. Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, Kawasaki, they all do 400 variants of the bigger bikes and the middle class bikes that we get here in Europe. So you'll get a GSXR 400 and FZR 400 and VFR 400 and so on and so forth. And what happens is, after about 5 years, the 400 bikes in Japan, they have to go through a very stringent MOT. And a lot of Japanese people, they don't bother with that, so they just part X in for something else. And what you've left with is a stack of 400cc 5-year-old bikes, which by any stretch of the imagination are still very good bikes. And then they get shipped off over to the UK. Back in the 90s, the pound versus the yen was very, very good. And so some bright spark thought, well, let's get all these 400s into the UK. And so that became the grey import market. And back in 1995 I was looking for grey imports, and I saw these and I liked the look of them. I thought, you know what, that's the bike for me. But I've never got one. For what I was going to use it for, in and out of London, it just wasn't the bike for that. As good as it may be, it's not a bike for going in and out in London on. So I got something a lot more sensible, which was a Suzuki Bandit 400. Still a very good bike, but it's not a patch on this. Oops, false neutral. Now, it's not a perfect bike. It's got Chinese fairings, or certainly aftermarket fairings. They're not fiberglass, they're ABS. It's been resprayed. It's got some new powder coated parts on it, and it's a good used example. Now I can go back 5 years on MOTs, I think it is, and it's only done about 5,000 kilometres. That's about 3,000 miles. That's no time at all. That's no distance at all. And it's showing 32,000 kilometres, 20,000 miles, which may or may not well be true. You never know. When it gets to a bike of this age, it's like nearly 30 years old. You got to wonder really what is and what isn't straight about it. So we'll find it out as and when the times come. But for now, we're just happy to take it around the lakes, and I dare say you're going to hear an awful lot more about it, be that good or bad. So that's my little introduction for you, and we see how we get on with it. So take care everybody, and I will speak to you soon. Fuck me, that's not right. Oh boy.